Hello and welcome to Show of Hands Hangout. Something. Um, I think by now everyone knows Ron and I, but I'll have you quick introduce yourself. Um, whatever you want to do by means of an introduction. And for an opening question, are you following the tournament?
Okay. All right. I'll go first. I'm Ron, ronderman on the app, and I am in the middle of ACC territory. So yes, I think by law you have to at least follow the ACC teams in the tournament. And feast and famine for the ACC this year. We had 9 teams accepted to the tournament, and only one made it to the Sweet 16. So it was a source of pride, then quickly a source of embarrassment as they all fell to the wayside very quickly. Of course, my team didn't even make it in. So I suddenly have become a North Carolina fan. So
how close were they to making it?
What state? NC State?
Yeah.
Not very at all. We fired our coach with like a month left to go in the season, and it was so bad we said, just stick around. We don't even want to name an interim. Just, you're fired, but we want you to coach for the rest of the season, which really doesn't make sense to anybody. But so yeah, I don't even think we didn't even make the NIT. So it was very sad, very, very sad. So tonight, I've switched to Wake Forest out of protest. My NC State is sitting here empty. Tonight we switched to Wake Forest. So they made it into the playing game and then lost it. But so there you
go. And I'm Izzarius. I actually don't follow the tournament. I'm mostly focusing on other stuff. I watch more YouTube videos and homework and a few TV shows. I'm not really into that sports thing.
Now, we've had you on once before.
Yep.
We had you on once before. Oh, are you there? There you go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Give us a quick background. You're a student.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I'm 25. I'm a graduate student. This is my second semester at graduate school, studying history, taking 3 classes, another year to go or so. Still have to write a 80-page or so thesis paper in order to graduate with master's degree, and still formulating my thesis, but I have a couple ideas. And on the app, I'm known as Izzarius. I've been there almost a year. My first year anniversary is almost coming up, March 25th. But I really started posting around summer, but I registered March 25th. And I just like posting polls about anything, really, whatever I find interesting. And yeah, that's me.
Okay, and where are you from originally?
I was actually born originally in Ukraine.
In Ukraine. Okay. And how long have you been in?
I've been here since the year 2000, but yeah, I moved here when I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, Firefly, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I am Firefly5 on the app, Guyton in real life, and I generally don't really follow sports. This is my big exception. So I am enjoying this tournament. I made a couple of early calls that I was ridiculed mercilessly for. And when Wisconsin knocked out Villanova, very suddenly it got really quiet as far as the ridicule went. So I've been doing all right. Of the Sweet 16, I have 14 teams still in.
Wow.
Which with this one was was pretty surprising.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's been fun. It's been fun, and the my one app that I'm using bugs me every so often about all sorts of things. And do you want to buy more entries? Do you want to do this? And it's, I mean, I'm not that sort of a person. It was just something I could do for fun with a couple of students um, at work, but it's good. It's it's something. It's a place where I can find common ground with a couple of students with whom I wouldn't find too terribly much common ground. And they're students that I see a lot. One of them is, well, whatever. They're students I see a lot. I'll just say that. Um,
Now,
yeah.
are either of you paying attention to the giraffe issue that's about to give birth?
I haven't heard of it.
I first saw posts about it like 2 weeks ago or something, and maybe it was only a week ago, and it's just been a long week. I'm not sure, but nope. I'm aware of it.
My wife, who is working 70 to 80 hours a week, if she's not working or sleeping, she has some type of device on watching this giraffe pace around a stall.
Wow.
Huh.
Waiting to give birth, and she's been watching it about 6 weeks now.
I mean,
So
I don't want to be that guy. So I'll start off with spoiler alert, but it's probably going to be a smaller giraffe.
yeah,
I'm
pretty.
just guessing.
That's pretty
So
much what's coming.
what is this giraffe issue or the thing that's going on?
There's a zoo, I believe, in New York that has a pregnant giraffe, and it is basically they have a live YouTube stream in her stall, and they're on baby watch, and so the baby giraffe could come at any time. And the problem is they just don't know when, and so for the past month, there's been a giraffe watch waiting for this 6 foot, 160-pound giraffe to squirt out of the mama.
Wow.
And she's millions of views. So, and I count my wife as one of them. So our first words this morning are, "How is April?" Because that's the name of the giraffe. So it's
Nice name.
evidently it's a big deal. So,
Huh?
but I'm thrilled that you two haven't fallen into the giraffe wormhole, so to speak.
Yeah, this is the first time I heard of it. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm sure it'll be front page news when April decides to let go of the baby giraffe. So, even though she's not watching, let's give a happy birthday shout out to Bama Girl.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, she said she's going out to dinner, may not be home by the time the show comes on. So, anyway, speaking of birthdays, how was your birthday, Firefly?
Oh, it was good. I had it was actually funny because it snowed fairly hard the day before my birthday, and it took me like 2.5 hours to get to work that day. It was terrible, but then it was a qualified terrible. It wasn't super congested. It was just there were enough cars going slowly enough to where you couldn't do anything. But I had a good audiobook I was listening to, so it, you know, annoying but not earth shattering or anything. And then the day after, which was then my birthday, overnight it had gotten down. I mean, well down into the single digits. I think it was 2 degrees at night. So everything froze, and then the space, or it was about a 25-mile stretch between my house and my work that there's absolutely nothing except fields on both sides. Um, I live in kind of a city and I work in kind of another city. Um, and in between there's just not that much. And so for those, it was just drifting onto the road. Everything froze down. So the morning of, I emailed with work and said, look, things aren't looking great. And they said, no, just stay home. So unexpected day off, which was pretty fantastic.
Which part of the country are you in?
I'm in Michigan.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were in Portland or something. Portland, Oregon.
Oh, no. Michigan, and it's been a really mild winter, but it's not letting go.
Yeah.
March is actually colder here in Minnesota than February. February we had like 50s and even 60s. March has been like 30s and 40s, 20s even.
Yeah. Like during the day, it's been really. During the day today, it was like 45, and it felt great because it hasn't gotten past like 30 for the last week. And then, at night it's been really cold.
Yeah.
So it is.
Yeah, we hit 80 today, which felt just really, really hot. But I got to have dinner on the porch, and so it was a good day.
On some scale or other, I'm sure we hit 80, but not a scale that makes that pleasant.
It's probably going to be until late April, May, when we hit 80 in Minnesota here.
Yeah, it'll hold on for a good long while. 80 is definitely early summer temperature.
Yeah. I just witnessed 80s recently. I went to Florida, southern Florida, Marco Island, Naples area. Like very well off, like wealthy area. Have a friend that lives like 6 months over there. Like the coldest months he lives over there, and the warmest months he comes back to Minnesota. So just visited him for a week, and it was 80, sunny every day. But something I noticed, very windy. At least Marco Island area, it was like very windy every day. But it was better than anything here in Minnesota at this time. I'm personally not a fan of humid continental, huge variations in temperatures type of climate. I prefer like something stable or something very warm all the time. Something like Seattle or Florida.
Well, that kind of puts us into our first question from Landon Liberty. I'm doing a segue here, but here we go. Would you rather Puerto Rico become a U.S. state or an independent nation?
Good question. Well, I'm anti-colonial type of guy. I would prefer for nations to be sovereign, and Puerto Rico doesn't have representation in Congress, so kind of why would Puerto Rico be like ruled, or should be like politicians in the United States dictate what they think is good for Puerto Rico? And yeah, I'm anti-colonialist. I believe Puerto Rico should be its own independent nation.
Well, the argument for statehood is then that they would have representation, right?
Right.
I mean, it's that this Commonwealth business leaves them at neither here nor there.
But I also read I read a little bit of articles before this. Keeps their economy down by being connected with the United States. It's terrible for the Puerto Rico's economy.
It's entirely possible. I don't know. I guess for my answer, I would say I would imagine I would take the Puerto Rican people's will into account on that one. I think they'll have more of an idea of whether statehood or independent sovereignty is the better asset for them, or the better route for them, and I could say I know.
To me, there's a lot of unintended consequences, such as think of the sheer amount of money it's going to take to redo all of our flags. I mean, you got to add a star to the flags. Not only that, but you're going to have to restart the entire quarters statehood series that started, back 15 years ago. We're going to have to redo all of those quarters because we got to add another. It would just be a big economic problem to add them as a state. In all seriousness, I don't see how we can add a state without adding a second state that would offset it politically. Kind of like we got Alaska and Hawaii around the same time. One's a left-leaning state, one is a right-leaning state. We would need some type of political balance to adjust the Senate and the House for either of them to vote them in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind Puerto Rico being a state. I kind of like Hawaii being a state. I would rather visit Puerto Rico than Hawaii, simply because, well, I've been to Hawaii, but it's a long way over there.
Oh yeah.
Puerto Rico, a whole lot shorter flight, and if we could somehow make that one of us, that'd be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I guess I don't really have a dog in the fight other than that. But you
Yeah.
can't take and throw off the political balance.
We're politically balanced.
In the Senate, we're pretty balanced. I mean, we're within the. I mean, what Republican senator is going to vote to approve a state that's going to elect 2 Democrat senators consistently? That just weakens their power. So, we are precariously balanced, we'll put it that way.
Oh, I haven't thought of it that way.
So,
Yep.
Mr. America.
Yep.
He says, what is your favorite breed of dog and why?
Golden Retriever. I just like the way it looks. It seems very friendly, but a lot of dogs appear to be friendly and act friendly, but for some reason, it's just my preference. Golden Retriever. I just like that dog a lot out of all. Yep. That's my answer.
We have a golden doodle, so it's 1/4 golden and 3/4 poodle. So, but it's a little one. It's a mini. So it capped out about 17 pounds. It's really the perfect dog. I don't want a big dog.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of big dogs either.
I want a dog that I can kick into the next room, a sissy dog, so to speak. I'm just not a fan of big dogs. So I like my petite golden doodle would be the specific answer to that question, I guess. How about you, Guyton? You got a dog?
I don't, and I honestly have no interest in having one.
Yeah, me too.
At all. I'm not a pet person. So
Well, sadly, I didn't have an interest in a dog either, but I was outvoted. So
I'm more interested in a cat personally. I like cats more.
I grew up with cats. But my wife
how was it?
Well, we went through like 8 cats before I was 5 years old, and then we finally found one that would stick around. So, and then at one point, I knew that cat longer than I knew my sister, and I would have rather have kept the cat and gotten rid of the sister. But yeah, I don't mind cats, but I think at this point in our life, it would be tough to go cat instead of the dogs.
oh, my mom had a dog. It was half black lab and half cocker spaniel, I think it was. And that dog lived to be 17.
Wow.
Which was pretty impressive. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not a dog. I guess I'm more of a dog person than a cat person, but I have no interest in either one.
That's understandable.
While we, before we get too far away from it, Jenna says happy belated birthday to you, Guyton, and she wants to know what happened to Science Fridays, or is she just
The last like 3 weekends have been insanely busy, and I actually have a set of questions ready to go. Um, I'll probably put them out. I don't know. I'll try and get them out tomorrow, but otherwise Thursday. I am kind of tired of sitting on them waiting for a weekend. With whatever, like with Facebook and such, you can schedule posts. If I could do that, these would have been up already. But
you can
I
schedule
can't.
posts on Facebook?
Yeah, you can write a post, and instead of publishing it right away, say I want this published at 9:30 p.m. when people are settling down and kind of looking at Facebook anyway. I do it a lot.
Didn't know that.
I do a Facebook page for our department at work, and I do it a lot with those, where I just say, I'll schedule it for a time where more people are likely to see it.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
It's a nice feature. But
Nice.
Well,
no.
The powers that be at show of hands are just really on top of things. So I'm sure that we'll have that ready to go pretty soon.
Hopefully so.
So
for the people, if you were to make that happen, I'd love it. But you've got to make it available in the web browser version, because that's where I can copy paste much more easily. This isn't likely to happen.
Probably not. Mr. America also says, what's your favorite king in history?
All right. I admit that not really a fan of any king, but if I had to say one, Emperor Meiji, the one that created that's like Meiji Restoration for Japan, 1868. He had these like 5 principles, like abolish the feudal system in Japan, create a new school system, create a new diet, create a new constitution, and like a new legislature. So he basically modernized Japan and made it like he allowed for the country to become what it is today, I guess. So I'll go with Emperor Meiji. Tatsuhito, that's his like personal name. All right.
All right. I guess my favorite king would be Burger King.
Nice.
I'm a fan of the sesame seed bun. So I've got to go with that, or King George Washington. That would be my my second favorite at that point. But being as I'm the only American on the panel tonight, I guess Burger King is the only American king that I can say. So we'll go with Burger King.
I saw this question maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, and I thought, this question is perfectly tailored to someone who's studying history. So well done. I was thinking, I don't know, Stephen King?
I had a feeling, Mr.
I got nothing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was really trying to come up with an honest answer, and I don't have one.
Martin Luther Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. or
that'll work.
Stephen
That's
King.
A historical figure. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Mean Brett says, what is your preferred sock length and color? We're going to go ahead and hit the hard-hitting questions. We're going socks.
All right. I prefer short, not too long, on the foot. And my favorite is like in thin and green. I like lime green color. Thin,
I did not
lot.
see that. Nice. So do they match your shirt?
Yes. I like green and purple. Purple and green are my favorite colors.
Okay, well, let's see them. Let's see. What are you wearing
Oh,
now?
I don't have them right now on, but usually
Oh,
I wear them.
okay. Well, I've got. Let's see. I'm sporting black socks right here. They're, mid calf, I would say. Um, so that's what I wear, unless I'm wearing shorts. If I'm wearing shorts, I cannot wear long socks. It goes against everything that I believe in. I think it's in the Constitution that if you have on shorts, you need to wear like ankle socks. I can't do it. It's just one of those things, and I apologize to the millennials out there that are way more hip than I am. I can't do it. I'm the old guy that wears the ankle socks. So, because back in my day, you didn't have socks all the way up to your knees. It just didn't happen. So that just makes me old. Okay, Guyton, how about your socks? What socks you got on?
Uh, I I don't know if it was as kind of a joke or as just a nice gesture, but I was gifted this club thing. Have you heard of this?
A sock club?
Yeah,
Sock
it's
club?
pretty funny. They send you a pair of socks like once a month, and they're actually really comfortable. The first 2 months, I thought, this is funny. This is, well, these are actually really comfortable. So I think they're fun. Um, but other than that, in the summer, so for running, I have these socks. They're called features, and they're socks that have arch support because I wear very minimalist running shoes and I run a lot.
Good.
Um, but for not running in the summer, I try and avoid wearing socks pretty much as often as I can. And in the winter, I just want as thick and comfortable of socks as I can find. So something thick and comfortable that's going to make a dent into keeping my feet warm in the once it gets down to 5 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully that doesn't happen here, and my feet still get cold. So, let's see. A vegetarian says, "What stereotype do you live up to?"
Me, I do not see anything that I'm just myself. If I had to say something, let's see, just millennial. That's let's see, middle class, who might have a little bit time on his hands besides school, and because I post a lot of polls and show hands. But other than that, I just see myself as me and myself.
Okay. How about you, Guyton? You got any stereotypes that you fit comfortably into?
Uh, there are parts of being from Western Europe to which I fit in pretty well. There are parts of having lived in Ann Arbor that I fit into pretty well, and there are political positions that are fairly, or that are at least pretty well accepted. If they're not exactly the most commonplace, they're at least pretty well accepted within um, at least the physics community, but I think kind of the science community in general, um, to which I fit pretty well. And outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. I have been to a couple interviews where I've been told that I did not strike them as, or I was not what they were expecting when they saw that I was a physicist, I suppose, and I don't know. I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
I fit into the
I think
stereotype of being an oldest child pretty well, I think.
I think with in today's society, pretty much if you say that you're a physicist, everyone's going to immediately think Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. So,
To be fair, to be fair, and I know that there are all sorts of internet rants out there about how that's not accurate and that's not whatever. It's pretty accurate. Um, it's like I don't like watching that show because I went to school with those people and I don't want to watch those people anymore. I saw them for, for years. I went to school with those people. I work with at least a couple of those people, and I don't need it. I don't need it for a show. Also, a show is supposed to take me away from my regular reality, not dig me further into it with the help of a laugh track.
speaking of physicists, I heard on the radio that Stephen Hawking has set up. Do what?
That he's going into space.
Going into space.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to strap him to a rocket and they're going to throw him into space on the Virgin whatever that Richard Branson's doing. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense. I mean, if anyone should get to go, I'm sure he's got the money. Let him do it.
Slightly, not very slightly, morbid thought here, or morbid prediction. I'm not convinced that he's intending to come back.
Sorry, my mom called me. I had to answer the call.
Well, if mom calls, that is perfectly okay. Not a problem. We're currently talking about, do you know who Stephen Hawking is?
Yeah, the physicist and scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he hit the news this week that he's planning on going to space. He's headed up on the Virgin whatever rocket. And Guyton, so are you thinking he's going to try to commit suicide up there, or do you think he's not planning on surviving?
I think I mean things have been getting kind of steadily worse as they do.
Well,
and
yeah.
I think maybe he feels the end coming and says, let's do this.
Why would he want to do it in space, though? I'm just wondering.
Versus what?
Why would he, if he's planning to commit suicide, why would he want to do it in space, though?
No. I don't think that he is planning to commit suicide at all.
Oh, okay. I heard it wrong. Okay.
I'm not even fully convinced he could.
Yeah, he would have to have help.
Right. But it wouldn't come as a complete shock to me if he knew that, or if he felt that he was very quickly approaching the end of his life and said, I want to do this. You know what I mean? Not a commit suicide, but I know it's coming.
Or even if his doctor said this is a one-way trip and you physically cannot withstand the physical pressures and stress of the trip, he may say, okay, let's do it anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean,
see that.
He's definitely got enough clout and enough pull to be able to be considered for a trip like that, one way or the other. But I don't know. I'm a really optimistic person, and I just don't see. I just don't see him making the trip out and the trip back. Physically, I don't know if he can make the trip out there, but
I mean, they would literally just have to strap him in. I mean,
yes,
yeah,
that's
a lot of force.
At all.
Right, like he doesn't have to do anything actively to go up in that sense, once he's in. But that's a lot of force. That's not. It's not a gentle trip. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine
Yeah.
it's very comfortable either.
Yeah, it'd be too hard for his body. And
So I want to say that all sorts of good things could happen from a trip like that, but I'm not convinced that that's the intention. And that
Okay.
might be,
understand.
if I do make it up there, then great, and I'll do some awesome stuff. But I'm not fully convinced.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Another question from a vegetarian. Is there a favorite smell of yours that you like, but other people might find weird?
All right. This might sound funny or whatever. I actually don't mind the smell of rubber or tires. Actually, neutral to positive, favorable view. Like I actually don't mind, or I kind of actually like that smell, tire, rubber smell. Yep, that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I like it when I buy new tires and I go in the garage and I can, the smell kind of knocks you down. I can understand that. How about you, Guyton? You got any smells that you like that you think other people may think weird?
Cut grass? Do people like that?
Yeah, I love that smell too.
Freshly cut grass?
Mm-hmm.
Smells like nature.
Yeah, I like freshly cut grass, old books. I don't know. I think they're not necessarily smells people dislike, but maybe not high up on the list of smells they enjoy.
Yep.
My smell is one that probably most people wouldn't recognize, but if they did recognize it, it would not be a good smell. A lot of times when my wife comes home from the hospital, which if you are new, you don't know, that's where she works. If it's been a day where she may have ended up in the morgue or around some of the cadavers in the medical school, every night when she would come home from medical school after she'd been in gross anatomy, she would just smell of the formaldehyde.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, I am attracted to the smell of formaldehyde.
Huh.
Huh.
Do you think it's the actual smell or just memory associations?
Good question.
I hadn't smelled it in a long time until like a couple of weeks ago. She came home and she smelled of it, and it took me right back to when we were first married, and we're broke, didn't have any kids. It was just a fun time in my memory. So, I mean, it's not like it makes me hungry or anything like that, but I enjoyed the smell. So, those are always good dinner conversations over what was going on with her cadaver.
Yep.
Yeah, that was nice. Let's see, Jenna. Do either of you have a favorite wine?
There's this one Hungarian wine, red wine that I like. Forgot the name of it, but we had a couple of times. Just it's like a little bit sweet, not too sweet. It's not like too dry or too wet. It's just my ideal interpretation of what wine should be, but sadly I don't recall the name of the Hungarian wine.
How about you, Guyton? I know you're a beer guy.
For a specific wine, a specific wine I couldn't tell you. A type of wine, I suppose. I generally like reds. I like Coturon, and I like. Yeah, I think that's kind of a nice balance. I like something that tastes deliberate, if that makes sense. Like it's not it's not super subtle. It's a very strong flavor type of yeah. I like something that tastes like it was meant to taste this way, not like your imagination's running around with it a little bit.
And I don't drink that much, and we only have it on special occasions. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, my favorite wine would, I'm Baptist, so it would be grape juice with communion. That's about as close to wine as I get. I'm not a wine drinker, don't like it. Probably the closest thing to wine would be a good Bartles and James wine cooler, which really makes me sound like a man. But that's my wife's a wine drinker, and I really, really want to like wine. I just can't. It looks good. It smells good. I taste it, and it's just nasty. So,
Do you like mead? They make a lot of meads around here.
mead,
Mm-hmm.
MEAD.
Yeah.
Haven't really had any.
I don't
Oh.
think I had
That-
either. Nope.
That's more of a beer, isn't it?
No, it's a honey wine.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'd try it.
Yeah, I'll probably try it now too.
See if you find some around you. Otherwise, I don't think you can send that in the mail, can you?
I don't think
Probably
you can.
can't.
Have to go to
But hey,
store.
if you can figure out how to get me some mead, we'll do another taste test on show of hands. I'll down a bottle of mead while during the hour of the show, and that'll make for a really great show.
Oh man, that would be a good show. It's
Yeah.
generally pretty strong stuff.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'll do
mean,
it.
the closest I've come to enjoying wine would be really sweet wine. It's kind of like a dessert wine, but yeah, I'm just not a
You
fan.
might like this. I'll see. While I couldn't send it in the mail, I would imagine that there are places. Um, I would imagine that there are places that would ship it directly.
There could be.
Okay, well that'll be your homework.
Yeah, I haven't spent time thinking about how to do this. I never had a problem accessing anything.
Yeah, I never shipped wine to anybody either, or I never did that, so I cannot help with that. I guess.
But I would imagine it's possible, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we've gotten some wine from California that a friend of mine sent, but he sent it from the winery. So I don't know if that. I mean, I don't know that
It's like in a special package that comes in, or
yeah, I don't know that you could just stick it in a box and stick a label on it. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. You send it to me and I'll give it a shot. Let's see, another one from Jenna. Do you like the water out of the tap, or would you prefer a bottle of water?
could you say the before bottled water? What's the option again?
The tap, just right out of the faucet.
I would prefer bottled water, or preferably even to go further, mineral water. But I'd rather just drink bottled water. Tap, not a fan. Not a fan.
Now, do you guys being from like Europe and stuff, what do you call it? Is it seltzer water? Water with the bubbles in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I drink that too once in a while, but not as often.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get the soda water, whatever. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's not how God intended it. God intended water to be without bubbles. And I think it's in Genesis, thou shalt not have bubbles in your water. I think it's just not good.
This must be that Baptist Bible I keep hearing about. I'm gonna order one of those.
I'm sure it's in the King James somewhere. Thou shaltest not bubblest the water Yes.
Oh, I think pretty much any phrase you want to come up with is in the King James style. It's such a long one, like, seriously. Um, it's impressive the things people find. Like I've read it through a few times, and uh, I still see people finding phrases and verses and stuff. Like, are you sure that was in there? Like, really? I feel like I'd remember that one.
Do you guys hear
My,
about the? Oh, go
my
ahead,
wife,
Ronman.
my wife's grandfather was an old, obviously grandfather. He was an old lawman in North Carolina. Grew up. He was sheriff, and probably one of the most racist people I knew before his death. But his dying day, he would swear to you that in the Bible there was a phrase, "Beware of the flat nose," and he used that to justify his racist tendencies against black people. So I have yet to find that. I've read it through as well. I don't believe that the Bible says anything like that, but he was a special man. So that sort of fits in with what you were saying. But how did we get to the Bible from here? What was the question? Oh, tap water or bottled water?
Our tap water is good.
I don't really drink water unless I'm working out. So I guess where I fill up my water bottle, it is filtered. So I guess that technically would be bottled.
Yeah.
But I prefer to put purple stuff in my water. So I need taste with my water.
I mostly drink tea.
Now, when you say tea, you obviously mean sweet tea, because if you don't put like a gallon of sugar with your gallon of water, then it's not considered tea.
Okay, I'll be more specific. Herbal tea, rooibos.
Herbal tea.
Rooibos. I drink without sugar and without milk, so just pure tea bag and hot water. That's it. So that.
Do you drink tea, Guyton? Do they have tea up in the Great North?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's. I don't think you would enjoy it very much. It lacks the sugar. We once went and stayed with a friend in Ithaca, New York, and he was from the South. And he asked if we wanted some tea. Yeah, sure. It was okay. I was just making some. And he gets out, a pot of water, and then he gets out just this big bag of sugar. And he grabs like this little spoon and he starts adding, like, yeah, okay, sure, a little bit of sugar in there is fine. And then he looks at the spoon and just kind of tosses it and picks up the bag and starts pouring. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? What? I don't oh. He goes, well, you said no, I have changed my mind. I do not want tea anymore. I will drink a cup to be polite, and that is as far as that's going. I do not. Ooh.
Oh, tea isn't tea unless it adds inches to your waist and cavities to your teeth. That is what tea is all about, at least down here, down south. And it also must have ice in it. I mean, I know you people out over in Europe, y'all don't believe in ice in your drinks, but you got to have ice with your sweet tea. So
I'm fine with that. Sometimes I do like to drink iced tea, but it's mostly in restaurants.
Let's see. Oh, and Jenna also, it appears, is going to be babysitting this weekend. She says, what are some things that Suki, who is Jenna's wife, and I can do with our 2-year-old niece? Guyton, you're much closer to that season of life than I am. What do the 2-year-olds do these days?
When my almost 4-year-old was 2, see, children's museums were always really cool. It depends a lot on the weather, I guess, but mine really liked riding bikes. So she would go. I say this as though it's not the same now, but she would go a handful of mile bike ride, and it was nice. And she's going at a speed where you're walking and she's biking, and it works out to about the same speed. So that was cool. And then swimming, we took them swimming. We do a lot of outdoor things.
I would say I think Jenna lives in San Fran. I would think the zoo would be a good trip for a 2-year-old. Stick her in an umbrella stroller, buy that for $12. Go to the zoo, walk around the zoo, and see the different animals. Make sure that he doesn't get eaten by a lion or something like that. But
Yeah,
you've got to pack like a whole backpack full of snacks, because
yes,
there's
agreed.
no way you get a 2-year-old through a zoo for a day without having a backpack full of snacks.
True.
when I went to like my summer trip to Europe, I went to a zoo, one of the places, and I saw tons and tons of kids. Like, so zoos are very popular with kids. I agree with that. And yep.
But I do like the museum. Not so much an art museum, but the children's museum would probably work as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. We've got a good science and history museum that's coupled with a zoo out here. That they actually let you pet the snakes and the turtles, and that'd be a good one.
That's cool.
Brandon 2018 says, "Do you watch The Walking Dead or Designated Survivor?" Do y'all watch either of those?
Actually, no. Maybe seen one episode of Designated Survivor a while back, but nope, I did not watch those shows mostly. Nope.
I was not aware they existed.
I will admit to being a deadhead. I do enjoy watching The Dead. It's one of the few that I make sure that I watch every week. I watched a couple of episodes of Designated Survivor. It didn't make it. It didn't have the longevity for me. I was hoping it would be more like the Kiefer of 24, but I didn't watch. I only watched like 3 or 4 episodes. I couldn't make it through. Let's see.
I thought Mr. America asked like 1 or 2 more questions.
All right, you want to go back to them? I'm
Mr.
trying to get
America.
everybody. We skipped 1 or 2, but all right. Mr. America says, "What's your favorite video game? Do you have a favorite video game?"
Oh yeah, couple. So for like a computer game, and I'll split it with computer and console. So for computer, Age of Empires series, Age of Empires 2 specifically. It's like a game where you build like you start with villagers, you build a town center, and you build like a civilization, and you like go conquer other civilizations, players. And for like a video game, I like Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. So it's like takes place in North Korea. Your mission is to capture like this one boss, or like this Kim Jong-un type of figure, and you have to work with like the Russians, Chinese, and South Koreans, like work with factions. And sometimes like there's like a lot of military stuff in there. You have to like do missions, capture some people, take down some people, and do these like driving missions or blow things up with bombs, like air supports. And yeah, Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. And the bad guys are like split by the deck of cards. Like there's 52 cards. There's like there's like 2 to 9, 10, like the lower ranks. Then there's King, Jack, and Queen, and then there's the Ace on top. So like the hearts or the clubs are the lowest rankings, and then there's the hearts, and then there's diamonds, and there's the spades on top. Spades are the Ace of Spades is the final boss, and Yeah. So, and you have to get through a lot. You have to get a lot of. There's intel in the game, and yeah. Sometimes when you work with one faction, you might become enemies with the other. Like if you work like Chinese, you might become enemies with South Koreans or even Americans, and because you'll do things that go against the other faction's interests. But eventually, you get to the ultimate boss, and yeah, you complete the game. So yeah, those are my favorite games.
Cool. Do you play any video games, Gotcha?
Um, I play the Civilization series, which is kind of like Age of Empires, but
Yep.
um, in some ways different. I play those with my nephew quite a bit. Well, quite a bit when he's around, and then I for console games I like the Final Fantasy series, and I more recently, I guess within the last 6 months to a year or so, uh, I would say Skyrim is probably my favorite in that stretch of time.
I heard people talking about it a lot, but I haven't tried it. It might seem interesting. Might something I'll get into in the summer maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a lot of Diablo. I enjoyed that, but my more recent game that I've enjoyed was Fallout. So
Fallout is made by the same people as Skyrim. It's actually a very similar game once you get away from the specifics of the time era and whatever. The gameplay is not dissimilar. The structure is not dissimilar.
cool.
Cool.
Let's see. We'll do one or two more. Let's see. Oh, there's a good one from A Vegetarian. What is something that you take for granted?
Good question. I got to think a little bit about this.
Gosh, my life is filled with things that I take for granted.
I haven't really thought about it. Let's see.
Yeah, that'd be a great poll question, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Clean air and clean water. I think are my biggest two. There are I spent a long time not knowing when or where my next meal would come from. I've spent time being homeless. I've spent time having a lot of things missing, I suppose, that are easy to take for granted. But at no time in there did I have to worry about getting sick from drinking water or from breathing the air. So I would say clean air and water are probably the two that I take for granted the most.
And up there in Michigan, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have clean water, right?
Yeah.
It depends on where. I mean, Flint is in bad shape. Flint has been in bad shape since always, but Flint is in particularly bad shape right now. And then there are a handful more cities that have similar things going on, but they're not as big as Flint, so they don't get as much attention. But I think by and large, most of Michigan has very clean water.
Good.
Just the places that don't really don't.
Well, how about you, Izzarius? What do you take for granted? Have you thought enough?
Okay, this might seem a little bit more philosophical. Just having just the realization that I have a roof over my head, have an apartment, and a parents' house that I could fall back into, like, or come back for the weekend. Because I just realization that not all people like in the world have that, like a roof over their head. So so I gotta be grateful that I'm in the situation that I am in, because some people in the world have it worse, but then there's of course there are other people that have it better. But yeah, that's my answer.
I, in my life, I think it's hard to narrow it down to just one. I have an embarrassment of blessings in my life. Beautiful wife, beautiful children. My wife has a very good job that allows me to not work. So I have an abundance of time. I have disposable income. All of that I just take for granted. But I think the one that I'm reminded of the most would probably be just health. My family we're rarely sick, had any serious health issues, whereas the family that we hang out with most, she is a two-time breast cancer survivor. Their 12-year-old son is diabetic. My best friend lost a kidney and almost died. So just in the few years that we've known them, they've had several different hospital type illnesses that are life and death. So nothing like that for my family. So I guess that would probably be the big one, is that I just, eventually that's going to happen, but at this point it hasn't yet. So that would be my answer, I think.
Good answer.
I think that's probably a nice note to end on.
Yeah.
That feels positive.
I agree. Yeah.
Good positive energy.
Good question, Avej. But yeah, we're past 11, so
yep.
I'd like to thank our sponsors tonight, Mead and
something
Scrim.
to look into.
Yeah, coming to a mailbox near you.
So, but thank you everyone who sat with us and watched, and so we bid you adieu. Mm-hmm. So good night.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this.
Oh, you bet. Being on.
Right.
And as always, if anybody else wants to be on, let us know. Right. So
nice talking to you guys.
Right.
Good talking to you. See ya.
Thank you.
All right.